Casa Radio, Maddie here in studio, joined by Six Nations Chief Mark Hill. Mark, how's it going?
It's going good. How are you, Maddie?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for coming in today.
Yes, thank you for having us, and congratulations on your new position here at Jacasa.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes, well, thank you again for the opportunity. Scano, Sego, and good afternoon, Six Nations. I hope this message finds you and your family safe and healthy, both physically and mentally. I want to start by sending my best wishes to our brothers and sisters south of the Canada-US border who will be celebrating this Thanksgiving weekend. As First Nations people, many of us struggle with this historic spirit of Thanksgiving, but I do hope everybody takes some time to reflect on the past year and find reasons we can still be thankful. And in spite of the circumstances, there are many reasons to still be thankful. I, for one, am thankful for the dedication and sacrifices of our community over the past year, as we work together for the health and safety of everybody. Traditionally, many of us have headed to the border this weekend to gather with our brothers and sisters. This year, with the continuing threat of COVID-19, our emergency control group is asking community members not to travel to the United States. We know that their number of cases is much higher than ours, and that by traveling there, you're putting yourself and your community at risk of catching and spreading the virus. If you do decide to travel to the United States, you must self-isolate for the 14 days after your return and monitor yourself for symptoms of COVID-19 like a fever, a dry cough, or a shortness of breath. It is important to remember that a person can still be infected with the virus without showing any symptoms, so you have to self-isolate whether you're showing symptoms or not. You can visit the Six Nations COVID19.ca for more tips on monitoring yourself for COVID-19 symptoms. Please let our public health officials at the Six Nations Assessment Center know that you are self-isolating by calling 226-446-9909 or their toll-free number at 1-855-977-7737. You could also make arrangements with them for a COVID-19 test. Over the past few weeks, the number of active cases in our community continues to go down, and we hope to keep it that way. Since last Friday, the number of active cases has gone down from 2 to just now 1 active case. I'd just like to congratulate that community member who successfully overcame their COVID-19 infection. I also would like to thank them for making the responsible decision to stay home in quarantine to protect themselves and their friends and family they care for. Each of us must remain vigilant and take every measure we can to stay at home and away from the threat of catching the virus. Next week, Six Nations of the Grand River will be implementing a new system for monitoring how our community is doing in the fight against COVID. The color-coded system will reflect Ontario's, although ours will have some additional measures to reflect the realities of our community and the fact that First Nations people are more likely to catch, spread, and experience the symptoms of the virus. We work with public health officials, the Six Nations Police, and many others from the community to make these improvements. Please stay tuned to our website, our Facebook channels, and these updates next week for more information on the new system. And remember that the color we find ourselves in and whether we increase or decrease public health measures will depend on how well we as a community listen to the current measures that are in place. I would also like to remind everybody that face coverings are mandatory in all indoor public spaces and for ride services. And also a reminder that the ventilator masks, face shields, and mouth shields are not acceptable face coverings when used on their own. Unmonitored indoor and outdoor gathering sizes have been reduced to household members only, and as a continued precaution for the health and safety of our elders and knowledge keepers, non-essential visitors are still not permitted at Iroquois Lodge at this time. We continue to strongly encourage members not to travel to the hotspot areas, including the Toronto, GTA, and Peel regions, as well as Ottawa, Hamilton, and the United States unless absolutely necessary. The Ohsweken public health officials continue to advise against all travel at this time and suggest traveling for essential purposes only. We continue to plead with any visitors or returning members to please respect the COVID-19 measures we have in place, including the responsibility to self-isolate and monitor yourself for symptoms, especially after any travel. Contact tracing is still a very important tool we use to contain and slow the spread of COVID within our community. So please consider keeping a journal or using voice recording apps on your phones to keep track of your activities and the people you have been interacting with over the past 14 days. You could also consider downloading the federal government's COVID-19 alert app on your phone. Again, we must all continue to follow the core health and safety principles in the fight against COVID, which are staying home when feeling ill, even if your symptoms are mild, only leaving your household for essential purposes, only gathering with those within your household, maintaining physical distance from others outside of your immediate household, wearing a face covering when in public places, cleaning your hands regularly with soap and water or hand sanitizer, as well as regularly cleaning and disinfecting commonly touched surfaces within your home and at your work. If you would like to arrange a COVID-19 test, again, we ask that you please call the Six Nations Assessment Center at 226-446-9909 or toll free at 1-855-977-7737. A couple of other important numbers to remember include the COVID-19 hotline for businesses at 519-750-4908, as well as the Emergency Food Support Service at 519-717-3403. A reminder that they are open Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Again, all of this information can be found on our social media channels as well. In other community news, and as a direct response to the COVID-19 pandemic, the elected council is leading the Internet Towers project to enhance our Wi-Fi connectivity for our students learning from home, as well as everybody who is working from home. This project is part of a larger plan and strategy to strengthen our community's ability to connect to the internet. Starting November 30th, we will hold 6 virtual information sessions where community members will have the chance to learn about the project, as well as share their questions and concerns. Again, we ask that you please visit our social media for further follow-up to this project. Again, as we get closer to the winter days, the elected council continues to express our concern for the health and safety of everybody at the Mackenzie Meadows site, as well as known as Landback Lane. We continue to call for a peaceful resolution to the dispute that avoids violence and destruction at all costs. From the beginning, I have encouraged all parties to engage in an open and respectful dialogue that is guided by good faith, and our elected council continues to engage with all parties almost daily to find ways for a timely resolution to the current situation and to all of our outstanding land claims within the Haldimand Tract. We continue to encourage all Ontarians and Canadians to learn about the true history that has led to the current situation. This conflict goes much deeper than the land under dispute and extends much further than over 100 days. We hope to find justice and healing for our entire community through the resolution of our 29 land claims within the tract. Our hope continues to grow as the October 2022 trial date approaches. We recognize that there are many fractured and broken relationships both within Six Nations and as well with our provincial and federal counterparts. We know that getting the best result for our people means healing those relationships and creating a united front within our community to increase our strength, our wisdom, and our knowledge as we look towards meeting with Ontario and Canada. And last but of course not least, I want to extend my gratitude and appreciation to our local radio stations for allowing me to continue to provide the community with these regular updates. Six Nations, of course, is very fortunate to have 2 local radio stations to be able to share this important information and again strengthen our culture and sense of community. So until next Friday, again, please stay safe, stay healthy, and take care. And we'll see you next week. Thank you, and Yawa.
Thank you so much for coming in, Chief Mark Hill. We'll be hearing from you again next Friday, and we look forward to that.